see the chat. Somebody is asking about will it be in every Tuesday? I think, depending how that we'll have meeting every Tuesday, it gives us a chance to meet and discuss together. I mean, beside office hours, that I guess is more individual, but depending on how many people will show up. But basically, let's try to have it, you know, because of the chance to talk together. I get a feeling about any nuances that I want to mention. Any question about homework one before I'm not about the, not about the Quadtree part that I'm going to discuss shortly, but question about anything else from homework one.
I actually had a question, Professor.
Yes, please.
So, like just looking at question number one from the homework, are we expected to write like a formal proof for each of those expressions, similar to how you've been doing in the lectures?
So yes and no. In one hand, I expect everything to be proven. That's somewhere in the instruction that if I'll show you, if I write the recursion formula, n equal 2t of n half plus n. I'll give you this recursion formula, for example, and you will correctly say the solution of this one is order t of n is order of n log n, which is a correct answer, but you don't express anywhere how you're getting from here to here. It is a correct answer, but I will ask how can you prove it, and probably I will not accept it. Definitely not as a full answer. So that's about the, yes, everything needs to be proven. On the other hand, I'm much less uptight about formality of what is considered a proof. In my book, if you write an argument 1, that you'll say argument 1 is obvious, argument 2 is obvious, argument 3 is obvious because it follows from the two previous ones, and say, and here is my proof. As long as these steps make sense, I'm good. I don't mind in which format you write them. I don't worry about you making the right symbol at the end to say that's what I consider the proof. So I'm completely follow my PhD advisor that said that a proof is basically a social thing that I'm trying to convince you that this follows from this, and you are either convinced or not, and we are not going into what is exactly obvious or not obvious. So take the formality as with a grain of salt, but you do need to explain how did you get to this conclusion. So that's about question 1. That's in general. Make sense?
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And by the way, we'll see today when we'll talk about merge sort, we'll see how various ways to handle this recursion formula. Okay. Let's talk about the homework. What first about any other question about the homework? Oh, so homework 1 is due in a week. That is in what was it, Monday or Sunday? So a bit short deadline. Try to make it on time. And the reason that it's and the project is due towards the end of the month. Okay, and yeah, besides being in the summer, that is much more, much faster. The deadline was also set so we can read what you think about Quadtree and what way you think about the project and give you feedback before you go and implement the whole thing. So it's another part about the homework. So and so yeah, try to make it all for the to till the deadline. It yeah, it says on the homework itself. I should change it. It said in the homework itself that check what I wrote on the homework itself. If it's not in the syllabus, we'll fix it. The truth is that we are not. I'm not very uptight about when do you submit it. I care much more about what do you submit and what's the quality, and if you have some good reasons why you need another 24 hours, it will be fine. But the idea is just to give you feedback as soon as possible, and we cannot publish the result before everybody submitted or everybody's at plan. Or to put it different way, once I tell you what I expect, what's the answer, obviously you cannot submit the answer. And by the way, for most homeworks, the feedback will be during class meetings, like today. What the answers what the correct answer. Less so about publishing written answers. I'll do it sometimes, but I think that people gain much more when we are meeting in class and talking about it. So that's how my policy usually about publishing the answers. Okay, if the rest of the question of homework 1 are clear, let's talk about Quadtree really quickly. I ask you to watch the video, but let's re-mention what are Quadtree. And another, by the way, the reason that I'm teaching Quadtree not at the organic order of subject of the course, not as part of the search tree, but at the very beginning is of course so you can start working about the implementation project that might take much longer time. So I wanted to do it as soon as possible. So normally it would come much later in the course. Quadtree, we'll talk about 3 types of quadtrees. They are very similar, and the easiest way for me to explain Quadtree is think about bichromatic quad image. I have an image that you see in the slide. Every pixel of this image is either green or red, and I want to compress, to store this image somehow such that I can do various operations really quickly. So what's the type of operations that I can do? The type of queries about these operations would be, for example, I'll give you a point xy, where pick a point in this image, tell me if this pixel is either green or red. And for this operation, probably keeping the original image, the original data of every pixel green or red is fine, but that's will not be optimal. If you keep it as an array to the array, it's probably fine, but then the other operations are less efficient. What are the next operation? I'll give you a disk somewhere, circle, the center. How do I tell you about the disk? I'll tell you about the center and the radius of this disk, center and radius. and I'll ask questions like how is this disk covers in the original image only green pixels or only red pixels or possibly both? How many green pixels, how many red pixels, and so on. And Quadtrees can do all these operations very efficiently, meaning it will not be optimal in doing them, but they'll be quite efficient. Much more efficient than doing it on the original tree. So here for D3 you see that it covers both green and red pixels. Okay, how are we arranging quadtrees? It's not a binary tree. It's not a search tree in the normal sense. Instead, we will have a set of nodes connected by, it's still a tree. Now, every node V will have some region that is the kingdom of V, what V corresponds to. So, if I start from the whole image, then that's my whole image, then here is V, and R of V would be everything that happens in the image. That's what the roots are of the root controls corresponds to. Now, possibly we leave the tree as a root that is the only leaf in the tree is just a root and there is nothing to do with it. Sometimes we'll prefer to split this region, and in this case V, the root, will have 4 children, hence the quad. We'll say the V will have 4 children, and these will each one of, and if we split a region in the quad tree world as opposed to other trees, we will split it always at the middle of the image. Split by X, exactly at the image, at the center. So this equals this length equals this length, and similarly in the Y, this length equal this length. And now we have the 4 quadrants. Here is the northwest quadrant, southwest quadrant, and so on. And the 4 children of the root, will correspond to these 4 centers. So the northwest will be right here. Northwest will be right here. Then we are moving in this case clockwise. Here will come the northeast, that would be the next child, and so on. And finally we get to the southwest. Remember, quadtrees, no matter what the data, split is always at the middle of the quadrant. Each one of these regions is a quadrant. The whole region over here is quadrant, and possibly will continue recursively. Now, every quadtree comes with a splitting polysphere. You need to decide when do you split a region and when do you leave the region untouched and don't change it anymore. So what will be the splitting criteria in this somehow toy example? In this toy example, my splitting policy would be that if the region of V, I've not said it directly, but the region of the southwest is of course R of southwest is of course of the southwest node will be of course this part. And with splitting policy at this region would be every node look at its own region, and it says, hey, if this region is monochromatic namely fully green or fully white in this case, then I don't feel any need to split. I'll be left as a leaf. And this tree has, and that's important, this tree has no ambitions to be a balanced tree. There is no rotations involved. A tree is perfectly happy with having different heights for different nodes. Okay. So in our case, a region that is monochromatic is left as a leaf, and a region that contains pixels from both colors, both green and red, or both red and green, will definitely split. So here is the example. With the colors, the northwest quadrant doesn't feel any need to split. The southwest quadrant doesn't need to split. They are left as completely as leaf. And all I do as a leaf is just tell this the northwest quadrant, hey, since you are fully red inside this region, I'll just tell this leaf that it is red. I'll just tell this leaf that, hey, you are red, and let it be. I don't need to split it, at least not at the moment. The same goes for the northwest. At the slide there, it's green, so it will be inconsistent. Southwest is the same. What happened with the northeast? The quadrant northeast quadrant is not monochromatic, so I split it, and once again splitting is exactly at the middle, partitioning it into 4 types. Somehow my computer is sluggish. Give me a sec. Let me close everything that I can. Okay. Uh, how is the sound quality? Oh, good. Okay. People don't think. Can you hear me well? Okay. Sorry, I saw Chris speaking, but I did not hear him. Chris, can you repeat? Okay. It, okay. Let's see. Maybe we'll stop and start. Everybody's good so far with the Quadtree? Just repeating what you hopefully saw in the video. I'll get to the homework in a few minutes. So that was a quadtree for an image. Now, what's guarantees, and that's one of the points that I see students getting confused about, what sometimes caused confusion to students is, I see that I'm also delaying between the sound and the video. So stay on Zoom and I'll just stay on Zoom. I'll be back in 2 minutes. I'll make sure that the computer is happy. Back in 2 minutes.